This is a chacma baboon troop, better known as Africa's most underestimated army. And for millions of years, these primates have survived alongside the most dangerous predators on the planet, while developing a defensive strategy so effective that even apex hunters think twice before engaging. And when researchers first began documenting their encounters with lions, they expected to record slaughter. But instead, they captured something far more remarkable: coordinated resistance, counterattacks, and in some cases, lions walking away defeated. In this video, we're going inside the social structure and combat tactics of the baboon troop to see how these primates turned from easy prey into one of Africa's most formidable collective forces. At first glance, baboons seem like unlikely warriors, social primates that spend most of their time foraging for fruits, roots, and insects, living in troops that can number anywhere from 20 to over 100 individuals. And while they lack the claws of a leopard or the crushing bite of a hyena, they possess something far more dangerous in the African bush: numbers, coordination, and an absolute refusal to abandon their own. But the most shocking weapon in the baboon arsenal becomes apparent only when a male opens his mouth, because those canine teeth can measure up to 2 inches in length, longer than the fangs of an adult lion. And while a lion's bite is certainly more powerful, a baboon's teeth are designed for precision violence, capable of inflicting deep, tearing wounds that can cripple, maim, or kill attackers who underestimate the threat they represent. A large male chacma baboon can weigh up to 90 pounds and stand nearly 3 feet tall. And while this is dwarfed by a 400-pound lion, the critical factor isn't individual strength, but collective action. Because baboons never fight alone, and a troop that decides to stand its ground can bring dozens of screaming, biting, slashing bodies to bear on any threat, overwhelming predators through sheer aggression and chaos. The power of a baboon troop lies not in individual strength, but in its sophisticated social organization, a structure that has evolved over millions of years to maximize survival in predator-rich environments. And at the core of this system is a strict hierarchy, dominated by alpha males who earn their position through a combination of physical prowess, political alliances, and the support of key females. And these dominant males don't just lead, they serve as the first line of defense when threats appear. When a predator is spotted, the troop's response is immediate and coordinated, with females and juveniles retreating to safety, while adult males form a defensive perimeter. And this isn't panicked flight, but rather a tactical withdrawal, covered by fighters willing to engage. And researchers have documented cases where alpha males have charged directly at approaching lions, screaming and displaying their fangs in aggressive bluffs that often convince the predator to seek easier prey elsewhere. Communication within the troop is remarkably sophisticated, with different alarm calls for different types of predators, allowing members to respond appropriately depending on whether the threat comes from the air, from the trees, or from the ground. And this early warning system means that baboons are almost never caught by surprise, giving the troop precious seconds to organize its defense before a predator can strike. The most stunning examples of baboon resistance come from direct confrontations with lions, encounters that should theoretically end in easy kills for the apex predator, but frequently don't. And the key to baboon survival in these situations is their willingness to escalate, to transform from potential prey into active combatants who make the cost of attack prohibitively high. In a typical defensive engagement, multiple males will harass an attacking lion from different angles, darting in to bite at the predator's hindquarters, face, and legs before retreating. And while no single baboon can match a lion's power, the cumulative effect of dozens of wounds, the constant threat of eye injury, and the exhausting nature of fighting enemies who won't stay still often convinces lions to abandon the hunt. And documented cases exist where lionesses have been so severely injured by baboon counterattacks that they've died from infected wounds days later. But baboons don't limit themselves to defense, and researchers have documented instances where troops have turned the tables entirely, actively hunting and killing predator offspring when opportunities arise, with footage existing of baboons killing lion cubs, leopard cubs, and even young cheetahs. Behavior that serves both as revenge and as a long-term survival strategy, reducing the number of predators that will hunt them in future years. Perhaps most impressively, baboons have been observed trapping leopards in trees for hours or even overnight, surrounding the base and screaming continuously, preventing the predator from escaping or resting. A siege tactic that demonstrates remarkable collective patience and coordination. And while the leopard eventually escapes, it does so exhausted and far less likely to hunt baboons again in the future. This capacity for organized resistance didn't evolve overnight, but rather developed over millions of years of intense predation pressure. And the fossil record shows that baboon ancestors faced an even more dangerous array of predators than modern troops encounter, including saber-toothed cats, giant hyenas, and early humans who hunted primates for food. And only those troops capable of effective collective defense survived to pass on their genes. The behavioral sophistication required for coordinated defense has driven the evolution of baboon intelligence, resulting in brains that are remarkably advanced in areas related to social cognition, threat assessment,
and tactical thinking. And studies have shown that baboons can remember individual predators, track their movements over time, and adjust their behavior based on past encounters, effectively learning which lions are dangerous and which can be intimidated. Today, baboons remain one of Africa's most successful primates, precisely because of these evolved capabilities, thriving in environments ranging from dense forests to open savannas to the edges of human cities. And wherever they live, they maintain their social structures and their willingness to fight, ensuring that predators who underestimate them rarely make the same mistake twice. And so, we come to understand that survival on the African plains isn't simply about being the biggest, fastest, or strongest, but rather about developing strategies that make predation unprofitable. And baboons have mastered this calculation through millions of years of evolution, creating societies where collective action transforms individual weakness into group strength. And while lions will always be apex predators, they have learned that some troops are simply not worth the fight. But chacma baboons aren't the only primates that have evolved remarkable defensive capabilities. And in Ethiopia, researchers have documented hamadryas baboon troops numbering over 500 individuals, herd sizes so massive that even leopards and hyenas avoid contact entirely. These mega-troops represent a different evolutionary strategy, one where sheer numbers replace tactical aggression, creating primate armies that dominate their landscapes through demographic overwhelming force rather than individual combat, proving that the rise of the baboon is not a single story, but an entire evolutionary dynasty of survival. But while baboons evolved to dominate through numbers on the ground, the skies of the ancient world belonged to creatures that ruled through sheer individual size. If you want to see the largest animal to ever fly, check out our Quetzalcoatlus video, where we explore how a giraffe-sized reptile managed to take flight and terrorize everything below. Click the link now to watch.